video I'm going to be reviewing a piece of gear. Now if you've seen any of my recent videos, I've reviewed a couple of bits of gear from this same company. They're called KIMAFUN, and they've sent me these bits of equipment to review. Now the first one I reviewed, which I linked to here, was for an in-ear wireless system. It had the whole system. You plug one bit into the PA, the other bit on a belt pack, and you plug it in-ears in. It came with everything you needed, and that was a pretty good bit of kit. The second one I reviewed was a wireless guitar system, which I wasn't so keen on, and I did suggest to them that I didn't post a negative review, but they said they would like the negative review because it helps them develop their products, which I thought was a brilliant attitude. And obviously I didn't upset them too much with my review because they've sent me another piece of equipment. Now this bit of gear is a Lavalier, is that how you say it? Lavalier, whatever it is, one of those mics that you clip here. Not so much for musical performance, but I can use it for making these videos. I'll put a link to it in the description, but here it is on the Amazon US website. It's $109.99. It's the KIMAFUN dual wireless Lavalier microphone. Now I haven't actually opened this yet, so this could be a very short video if this is something completely different. I mean, I've ordered a pair of slippers or something might be in this box, but I don't think so. Right, let's get this open. Now fingers crossed this is actually the thing that I think it's going to be. Yes, that's a relief. Here we are, we have the KIMAFUN wireless microphone. This looks good. Yes, Lavalier mic, that's how you say it, Lavalier. Let me find a pair of scissors to get this open. I've been wanting to buy one of these, this type of mic, for quite a long time. The mic I'm using at the moment that you're hearing is one of the Shure, let me check it's turned on. Some disadvantage with that, the light's on the back. The Shure shotgun mic, the model is, can't see, let me get my phone out. VP83. Shure VP83 lens hopper. So that's what you're hearing here. Now I'm going to do some comparisons in a little while. I'm going to do a comparison with that Shure mic, with this mic, and with just the camera mic, so you can hear the difference. It comes in a nice box. Nice carry case, very similar to the carry case that the other bits of kit came in. What we got here, instructions. Right, which one is this? Now there's lots of different models, and this one says it is the KM-G50-2, which means I should have a smartphone adapter, I can test that, a micro USB to CCC triple head charging cable, high wind fur, 2 Lavalier microphones, 2 Lavalier screens. Right, so I think it's got 2 mics in it. Let's have a look in the case. I'm going to get the GoPro out for this. Right, here we go. Now this is always a bit of a challenge, trying to open this one-handed. I can't think of any other way of doing it. Right, so what have we got in here then? So we have in here, it looks like 2 separate packs. Now these are actually 2 separate microphones, so I think the mic is built into there. I was expecting it to be like a little clip-on thing. Actually, maybe the whole unit is the microphone. Well, let me put this down a sec. Right, so we've got these little packets here. So no, we do have separate microphones, and I'm assuming that clips into there, but that looks like a microphone as well. Right, let's have a look what we got here. Now this might answer my question about, so it does answer the question. It looks as if, let me see if I can show you this. It looks as if this clips onto here. There we go. Looks like a little man with a spiky hairdo. So that charges. Let's have a look what else we've got in the case. I'm assuming that's another one of these. So this is one of the mics that you can actually clip on. I think with this you can actually just clip this unit directly on as well. Now what are these? Right, this is the lead to go to the camera. Here's a lead that goes to a phone that's got a headphone lead, which rules out my iPhone, of course. This is the charging cable. Now I have got an adapter that goes to lightning, so maybe that will do that. Well, I'll try that as well anyway, see how that goes. I'm assuming this is the bit that goes onto the camera. Oh, and it looks like you can monitor what you're hearing as well. That's handy. Let me have a look at the instructions and see if this sheds any more light on it. Here's something we don't like to admit doing, isn't it? Reading the instructions, but being as this is a review, it's probably helpful that I do read the instructions. Okay, so I was right there. I've just read the instructions, and yes, you can either use the microphone that's built into the unit. I'm going to take the little hat off it for now. You can either use the microphone that's built into it, or you can use the external one. So that's handy. So I could just clip it on here like this, which is probably a lot simpler. I mean, it's a bit heavier, but it's a bit simpler than plugging in a external mic. But I should think having both is very useful. These have all come fully charged, every one of these KIMAFUN products I've been sent, which is very handy. Okay, so I've got something coming up on the display on this one. 1, 2, 1, 2. Yes, we have a level. So I guess the next thing is 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, is to see how it sounds plugged in. But there's a slight problem here. I'm not going to be able to see or hear the difference whether this is working or not. Now the next thing I need to do, I need to get the camera cable, and I'm going to plug this in. Let's take off the little protectors. I'm going to plug this into my camera in front of me, the one I'm using, and see how it sounds. But I'm not going to know until I start editing the video. So I'm only going to make this a very short test. Otherwise I could be rather wasting my time. Now hopefully, I'm going to clip this on here. Hopefully you can hear me. Now I have no way of knowing at this point, so I'm going to go and have a look when I edit this and see how it's going. Once I've established it's working, then, I mean, it should be working because the unit that I've got plugged into the camera here says it's receiving audio. So I don't see why it wouldn't be working. But we'll give it a go. I'm going to plug it in, see how it sounds, and then I'll do some proper tests and comparisons. I've watched the last lot of footage back and this mic seemed to be distorting slightly. So what I've done is I've reduced the level, the volume button on the transmitter and the receiver, and I've taken them right down to 0 and then pressed them up 1. So it probably means that if you've got a device that hasn't got much level in it, you've got plenty of room to boost it. But on my camera, because I've got it set on automatic like I always have it, I used to set the level thinking I was being very clever when I was using this shotgun mic, and it would sometimes distort, so then I realised that the automatic is probably a lot better than me, and it is. So it's set on automatic, and I've got it set down to the lowest level, so hopefully this is now going to sound all right. Obviously I'm not going to know until I listen back again, which is a bit frustrating. So this is what the mic sounds like using the actual unit itself. So now I'm going to plug in the external mic and see what that sounds like. Here we are. Now I've got the external mic on. Now again, I don't know what this is going to sound like till afterwards, but this is the test. I've got it all set on the same levels as the internal one in this unit. So this is probably quite a good unit if you want to conceal it, because this is a bit more obvious, which doesn't really matter for these kind of videos, but if you're doing something else you want it a bit more subtle, this is probably quite good. So the next test I'm going to do is show you what the internal microphone on the camera sounds like in this same situation. As with all these tests, I've got the sound recording levels set on automatic, and this is what the internal camera microphone sounds like. I've got a Canon EOS 77D, which is a digital SLR, and this is the internal mic. So next, although you've heard this lots of times, for the ease of comparison, I'm now going to put the shotgun mic back on so you can hear what that sounds like. And this is the sound of the shotgun mic, which is what I usually use, or have been up to this point. Depending on how these things go, I might start using these. So another thing I wanted to point out while I'm on the shotgun mic is that this little clip here, which you can clip to your belt, this is the bit that goes in the camera, that also fits into the shoe on top of the camera, which you can either use for mounting like the shotgun mic here, or a flash. That's quite handy, so that clips in securely. So that keeps it nice and tidy on the camera. The eagle-eyed amongst you may have noticed that I'm now wearing headphones. So the reason is I wanted to test one other feature. There's a headphone out on the camera unit. Normally this would be plugged into the camera, but you're hearing this on the shotgun mic at the moment because I thought it would be a bit awkward trying to do this test all in one go. And I just wanted to check that what the monitoring sounded like. So I'm speaking into this little external mic. It's coming around going into the transmitter, which is transmitting into the receiver. And I'm now able to monitor myself, so that's if you've got a camera operator, they can monitor the audio as they go along. So that's another handy feature on here. Right, we're back on the lapel mic, so hopefully that's working. A couple more tests I want to do. I'm going to test the phone cable, see what that sounds like with the phone. I've got this lightning adapter on here, but I'll show you that. I've actually already done this test. I had to do it when I was a bit busy rushing out going to pick my daughter up from school. She normally cycles to school, but it was raining, so I said I'd give her a lift, so I had to go and pick her up. So after the phone test, one other test is using both of the mics at the same time. So I should close the video out using both of these just to see how that works. So now I'm going to go to the outside broadcast of me testing the phone. This has been one of those busy weeks while I'm trying to get this review done, so I thought I could do the iPhone review while I'm picking my daughter up from school. So I'm in the car. Now at the moment, this is the sound of the built-in microphone on my iPhone. So what I'm going to do is now plug in the Lavalier mic and see how it sounds. Using my jeans as the backdrop here, this is the lightning to mini jack cable, and here's the cable, the one that comes with it for the phone. Now I assume it's got those 3 sections, one more than a standard audio one. I'm assuming the other one is to do with controlling it or the microphone or something. So I'm going to plug that in, and then that's the as we saw earlier, that's the actual microphone bit you clip on your clothes, and then the receiver bit is there. It's got the camera one plugged in to it. I'm going to unplug that and plug in the phone one. So let me do that and I'll show you. Here it is, all plugged in. So this is the receiver bit. Let's turn that on, going into the iPhone lead and then into that. So I'm going to plug that into the phone and we can see how it sounds compared to the built-in microphone. Right, well, before we go any further, I've now turned it on and we can see on there that it's receiving audio. Now I've got this set the same as I had on the camera, so I've got it turned down to just above 1 on this unit. So I'm wondering how that's going to sound. How's that sound to you here? Maybe I'll turn it up a bit. It looks like the level's a little bit low. I'm not going to know. This is the annoying thing. I can't tell until after I've start editing the video what it's going to sound like. So if I nudge the volume up there, are we going to get more? There we are, getting more level now. That's too much. So if I nudge it 1, 2, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Well, that looks alright. Okay, let's see how that sounds. Right, so I've got the mic clipped on here, attached to the phone using this. So I wonder how this sounds. This is very frustrating because I can't look until afterwards. It's a very tricky test to do, but it's all good. Okay, let's have a listen, see what it sounds like. Well, you already know. I'm not going to know until a minute, so I'll have to tell you when I find out. Level was distorting previously. Well, it didn't sound that clear, so I've turned it back down. I think it sounded all right. Now, I have to say, this is very easy to use. I haven't really had to do much other than plug it in. It was all just working. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to turn the level down on the actual microphone itself. Let's turn that down. See, 2. Right, that's just turned up. That's on 1 as well. So I'm wondering whether, the phone and the camera, they receive a pretty good level, so they don't need to be any louder because they sound like they're distorting. Again, I can't hear what this sounds like until I listen back, so I'm just going to go and listen back. Hang on, bit of trial and error there with the levels, but other than that, it's plug and play and it's working. And I think now I've turned the levels right down to the sort of minimum on the mic and the receiver. That seems like a pretty good level, and that's good because it gives you plenty of room to play with if your device isn't receiving very loudly or the preamp in it isn't. Obviously I can't adjust the audio level on the phone, so I just have to go with what it's doing, but this is pretty good. Unfortunately, when I came out to pick my daughter up from school, I didn't bring the little external mic, so I can't do that test right now, so I'll have to do that later. I'll do that on the camera, but with this microphone here, that's what you're hearing, and I think it sounds pretty good. Thumbs up, all in all. Right, back to the studio. We're back in the studio. I now have a co-host, but I did forget to do one test, and it was to test the little, let me find it.
It's in all your mess, isn't it?
To test the little hat thing that sits on top of here in the wind. So I'm just going to go back to my outside broadcast and show you the test I did with the phone using the little hat. One test I thought I ought to do is test the windshield on the lapel mic. I'm on Brighton seafront, it's very noisy. Lots of traffic noise. The wind has dropped. I was hoping it was going to be more windy than this, but it's still pretty windy. It's raining. You can see Brighton Pier behind me. So I'm going to plug in the lapel mic to see how it sounds. Hopefully it's working. Lapel mic. I wasn't intending to test whether it was waterproof, but looks like I am doing that. So hopefully that's clearer than it was with the phone mic. There, I can see it. I'm getting wet, so I can't tell this has worked until afterwards, as per usual. So I'm going to go and get in the car now, because I'm getting soaked. Now, the last test is to see how well the other mic works, to see how well it works with 2 microphones. So this is Bonnie, and she's helping me. Say hello, Bonnie.
Hello, Bonnie.
Yes, very good. So Bonnie's helping me now. Hopefully you can hear her as well as you can hear me.
Hello.
No, don't talk straight into it, because that will distort.
Wait, can they hear me?
They should be able to hear you. If they can't, then we're doing something wrong. But like the rest of the tests on here, I can't tell until I put it into the computer and edit the video. But hopefully this has all worked. So in conclusion with these, I think they actually sounded best on the phone. I don't know why they sounded better on the phone. The little hat thing worked well. I think the actual units work better than the external microphones, the little lapel mics. And all in all, they're easy to use. They were just plug and play and worked without any setup. So I think they're pretty good units. So all that remains is for Bonnie, as she's here and watches lots of YouTubers, she knows how proper YouTubers sign off and do all that smash the like button and stuff. She can sign off for me. So Bonnie, sign off for me.
Thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe, turn the notifications on and give it a huge thumbs up. Bye!
So there we are, and every week I'm bringing out new videos, 7 PM UK time, so hopefully see you next week.